Down to business with your financial lifestyle planner, Sean Bailey, on 108 Praise Radio, voicing the gospel. Thank you for tuning in again this week. And I always start out by saying you could be doing anything in the world right now, but you are listening to me. And for that, I'm greatly, greatly appreciative. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of housekeeping and business out of the way. First and foremost, 108 Praise Radio has an internship program. We are looking for interns. So if you're looking to get into radio, media, editing, broadcasting, please go to 108praiseradio.com, where we can actually get you a part of the interview process so you can become an intern here at the station. Also, we have our program going on, One and Done. And I said that to you guys again, all the station is asking is just donate $1 and then you're done. But you know me, I'm always going to push the limits. I'm asking everybody to help me with at least $5 to $10, right? It goes to a great cause, which is going to a veterans organization. So we need everybody's help because, again, we are stronger as a unit than as individuals. So please help and support the radio station, and we love you guys for that. So tonight, get down to business. We're going to be talking about a very, 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 very important topic. If you see my Facebook Live video, basically what we're talking about is I've been doing a lot of speaking engagements at events called for Entrepreneur Her, and basically events based around a lot of women entrepreneurs and women business owners. And it's been a great blessing and a great experiment to share my business and to share who I am and what I do. But when I sit back and I listen to these women talk, I've been given a gift where I'm able to really kind of hear what people are really not saying. You know, when people talk and that, you know, they're not really saying what they really want to say, and they're trying to sugarcoat it and everything, because even as humans, as everybody, we put on masks. So we put on that smiling face, but underneath we're hurting. And basically what I'm hearing is a lot of women saying, I got great ideas, I got great innovations, and I mean, oh my God, I got this passion to do this business or whatever the case may be, but my significant other doesn't support me. And then delving in deeper with other conversations that I had with people, with other females, they were basically saying, you know, I come up with these ideas and my husband will say, oh, you know, that's dumb, or, you know, that ain't gonna work. Why don't you just stick with your job, or why don't you just, you know that's not for you, or whatever the case may be. And it's shocking, man, to be with your significant other, husband, wife. This is not just to the women, this is to the men too, because men have this problem as well. But imagine being with someone that you plan on spending the rest of your life with that doesn't support your vision. Excuse me. All they truly want is you to be like a servant to them, you know, clean up the house, pick up the kids, cook dinner, or whatever the case may be. And it broke my heart, and it kind of vexed my spirit, because as a man, I'm like, man, you ain't got to tolerate that. But after talking to some women, they feel like they don't have any other choice. You know, they got to take care of it. And one of the best analogy that I can give you that I heard was this. She said, we fight for our children. We fight at our jobs. We fight even for our significant others, our husbands, but we don't fight for ourselves. And I was like, wow, that is amazing, because can you imagine? And this is just how simple I said it. That's why I said this has to be a topic, and we have to talk about this, because basically how I looked at it was, can you imagine being with somebody that won't allow you to be the person that you want to be, that won't allow you walk in your purpose, and not even allow you, but support you? See, because most people say, yeah, you can do whatever you want. Then when you fail, they're right there. But I mean, support you and push you and be the crutches that you need when you're weak. That's what you really need from your significant other. I mean, this is a person you plan on spending the rest of your life with. And can you imagine being with that person and they won't never support you in any dreams or visions that you have? They won't support the person that God has called you out to be? That just blew my mind. And the reason I say that is because it's mind-boggling to me, is because my wife is going to be calling in, but I've always supported every vision, every dream. If she wanted to be a business owner, what you trying to do? I was like 100% go with it. And it baffled me, because I'm like, nah, I know everybody ain't like me, but like, they can't be that bad. No, there's an extreme. And here's the real reason that I decided to talk about this, because it's a form of self insecurity, and it's also a form of control. Right? Because if you get out there and you start doing better than me, then I may not have no control or whatever the case may be. And as brothers, we've got to get over that insecurity. we've got to realize that our wife or our significant other or our fiance, girlfriend, whatever, whenever she's at her best, we're at our best because it's a team effort. But imagine this. Imagine if they got that control and that woman says, or that man says, I'm not taking this no more. I'm gonna step out here and I'm gonna do what I want to do. What would that man or that woman do to regain that control? And unless you've been living under a rock, there's been some things going on in the news where domestic violence is real, man. It's blowing me this Facebook killer, man. I mean, even though they took down the video or whatever the case may be, the simple fact that this guy, he killed somebody and said because of this woman's name, and I won't repeat her name again, but because of his ex-girlfriend, this is the reason I'm going to kill you. And then he took the coward's way out and killed himself. Now everybody in the world is looking at her like she had something to do with what he did. But domestic violence is real. And it's a place where it starts. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying because men don't support their women's vision that they're going to be abusing them or beating them up. But here's the thing. Why wouldn't you let somebody run? Imagine if you're a runner, like that's what you do, and somebody's hoping, no, you don't need to do that. You need to just sit down. Don't do this. You need to just sit down. And God has placed something in you, but you can't get it out because of your significant other. They won't support you. Your significant other won't give you the wind in your sails to be the person you are. So tonight, that's what we're talking about. We got some great people calling in. Again, if you want to call in, you're more than welcome. The number is 770-415-2149. Again, 770-415-2149. Call in and let's talk about it because, look, man, we just going to get real. If you're looking at us on live, I'm very casual. We're going to talk about this tonight because it is something that has taken us out as a community. And I'm not even talking about, I'm talking about as a society. Let me take that back. Not a community, but a society. Domestic violence is real. And when you're with someone and that person is the person that said they love you, that person is the person that says they want to be with you for the rest of their life, and they turn around and they don't support your visions or they say something you're doing is stupid, I'm very, very careful in that. And I'm thanking God because it looks like my wife just called in. I'm going to let her talk to you for just a little bit, but I would never want her feeling like what she's saying is not relevant. What she's saying is not important to me. So with that being said, we got Miss Darlene Bailey on the line. You there, Darlene? Okay, we're getting her there. Darlene, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hey there, lady.
How are you this evening, Mr. Bailey?
I'm good. You in there cooking my food, huh? You in there cooking my meals? I'm just joking, y'all.
No, I'm actually in here planning our vacation.
Oh, that's
Sorry.
what I like to hear. A vacation that she paid for, guys. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, it's actually a vacation that I earned for hard work with my travel business.
It don't matter.
And,
you still pay for it?
The support of my husband. So, that just rolls into his topic of the night.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank God for a supportive husband because without a supportive system, I don't think I can be the person that God has made me thus far. He's still working on me, but I thank God for a supportive spouse.
Yeah, I pray for it. Yes, he is. But see, the reason I wanted my wife to come in or call in is because as a woman's point of view, I can't speak as a woman, just like she can't speak like a man. So I wanted her point of view. So also, it looks like we got another caller. Jessica, is that you?
Yes, that's me.
Jess, what's going on, Jessica?
Hey, sis.
Hey, guys. I have you guys halfway on mute because the kids are not, cooperative with the radio show right now.
We definitely understand. We appreciate you calling in. But what I would like for both of you guys to do, and I was talking to Darlene. Darlene, just go ahead and because you've been with me all throughout when we've been talking about this. Just kind of explain the point of view because I was trying to remember. I kept saying I don't get it. Like as women, if they're not supporting you, move on. Just explain that point of view to that you were getting from the women that were saying like they feel like they're not supported by that man.
It came out very openly in an open conversation, and the young lady basically simply said that she has a business, she has a vision, she has a plan written, and she just can't move forward with her plan because they have to make sure that the finances is in order in the household first. So I asked her simply, well, how long have you been sitting on your plan? And she said it's been about 2 years. And the time is right for the business. The opportunities are there. She has everything she needs, but her husband just doesn't feel comfortable allowing her to push forward with it because of finances. And our conversation went on to, what dreams have you followed with him? And, after further conversation with the young lady, it was discovered that she's supporting his dream every day with his business path, his business plan. She just feels like, her time will never come. And that kind of upset my spirit. And it upset my spirit because here it is as a woman, and I thank Sean Thomas for an analogy that she gave the other day. And her analogy is when we're children, some of the first toys we get as little girls are dolls. And some of the first toys as boys are trucks. And as little girls, we're taught to protect, nurture, and love those dolls. And that resembles our families. Boys are taught to be rugged, go-getters, and supportive in some sense. But a lot of times we forget as a society that it's okay for little girls to play with trucks and little boys to play with action figures. Now, I won't say dolls.
Yeah, look now, y'all. We went back and forth about this. She kept saying, because when you was a boy, you played with dolls. No, I didn't.
So I'm going to say
what do you think G.I. Joe is? It was an action figure with the kung fu grip.
But, in society, unfortunately, puts that label on the whole universe. And the support system is kind of just stamped on everyone like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with a little girl playing with a truck, a car, or an action figure. And there's nothing wrong with a little boy playing with a doll or being sensitive
action figure
in some respects. But we're kind of getting that kind of mixed up in today's society where we're not supporting each other's dreams and in business, in life, in anything. It can be a job, a dream of a promotion at work. It can be just a dream of going on a vacation. It can be a dream of completing school. These things I can talk about because Sean has 150% backed me in those areas in my life. So, that's the open talk of the conversation. That's how this topic came up. I honor my husband for taking it to the airwaves and bringing it to his listeners. It's not his normal topic of business, but it does tie into business. What are you doing to support your significant other in their life dreams, whether it's business, whether it's something personal? What are you guys out there doing to support your significant other?
Yeah, man, and one of the key things is communication. Communication has to be very, very clear, and even in some of the things that we've done, timelines and deadlines have to be set. Because even with that, I was telling people, I tell Darlene, look, you got to get this done by this time. Even when she went to school, I said, look, go ahead and get your degree, whatever the case may be. Because once you get your degree, then we're jumping out. We're gonna do because I kept a 9 to 5 at that time, and she had her degree pretty much wrapped up before I jumped out into my business. So it was really communication. But also we got Miss Jessica Felder on the line, and I know she kind of muted us because she got the kids going on, but I wanted to have her on because she has a great, her and her husband Jerry, man, they're like my brothers and sisters, man. Literally me and Jerry almost there's not too many dudes that physically I could say is like my brother because me and him are both tall. So, but Jessica, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. So, just tell a little bit about the marriage you and Jerry have, and how he's been really supportive of you in doing that.
I think a lot of it has to do, like you said, with communication. And on our first few dates, like these topics came up. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And a lot of it was us kind of bouncing off of each other. Like, his dream supports mine and vice versa. So for me, it was always about, you know, I'll work this job, but I really want to start a family and, you know, have some future endeavors that will take care of us so that we don't have to work 9 to 5 forever. Mm-hmm. So he was really supportive in that, because for him, risk wasn't that big of a deal with him being a full-time entrepreneur. So it wasn't, you know, too far-fetched for him to say, you know, I don't really care if you leave your job or if you stay there. Either way, we'll be fine, because he's used to, you know, there may not be a check or there may be a huge check. We never know. But I think in general, the communication piece starts really early on in the relationship. And so once you get close to a person, you're like, you know, maybe we're going to make this work. Where are you going? What will you do if life knocks us down a little bit? Will you continue to support me? Will I continue to support you? I think those questions are, you know, imperative, especially in the first few years. It's like, oh, we're on cloud nine, everything's great. And then once you hit that first big fall, you got to see where that other person stands. Mm-hmm. And if they keep telling you we can't do this anymore because we got knocked down one time, like, it's going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. We have to collectively get back up and keep dreaming and keep going forward. So with us, that's our thing. We've had some really, really great times, but we've had some tough times too. And the support from him on my end is immeasurable when it comes to me going forward. Like, I'm taking care of the kids now and talking to you guys, and it's fine. Like, this is great because he's working. So it's really, really good to have a person who will just tell you, it's okay. It's all right. It's all good. We had a bad day. No problem. Get back up. We'll do this again tomorrow. Or, you know, it's okay. I'll let you vent. Even with women who work 9 to 5, we come home and we hear comedians all the time joking about their wives and how they talk about their coworkers. That venting space when you come home at your kitchen table is crazy invaluable. Like, that is something that you just have to have when you're working at a crazy job. So if you have your spouse that's like, I don't want to talk to you, go talk to your friends, or, you know, go talk to somebody else. I don't want to hear that. That's not encouraging. And that's the kind of stuff that makes women go into a cave and go into themselves and not even open up anymore. So I'm not going to tell you about my dreams or whatever if I can't talk to you about me wanting a promotion on my job or wanting to do better at whatever I'm doing.
You know what?
So I think it's just about communication.
Something that you just said is so powerful. Like, why would I tell you about my dreams if I can't even tell you about my day? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is just so real. Like, if I can't tell you about my day, let alone tell you about my dreams, because, and I think I said this before, someone I was talking about it, somebody was like, well, how does it, you know, you got a financial show, how does that relate? Because even sometimes with men, we feel like we got to take all the burden on and handle everything. And, you know, they pay all of the bills and all of this. If something happens to them, the wife don't know where to start. The significant other don't know where to start. He handled everything. And I keep telling people, this is not 1954. It is okay to share in responsibility, because the best analogy is I'm flying a plane. Darlene is my co-pilot, not my, she's not a passenger on this plane. So, you keep throwing me off, man. She's not a passenger on this plane. She's a co-pilot. So that means if something happens to me, this plane got to stay in the air. You've got to be able to know everything that's going on, just like I know everything is going on. So that is the key of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our first break. Hopefully both of you guys can hang out with us for a minute.
Yeah, I'm here.
I know. I appreciate them baby girls, because I know they want their mama. But thank you for hanging out with us, though, Jess. But again, you're listening to No Praise Radio with your boy Sean Bailey, financial lifestyle planner, on Getting Down to Business. Right back. Thank you for listening this evening. But we are talking about a real pivotal topic in the support of your spouse in business. So on the line, on the phones, I got Miss Jessica Felder and my better half, my co-pilot in life, Darlene Bailey. Yeah. So one of the things I want to let both of you guys go, and I'm gonna let you start out, Jess, and then I'm gonna let Darlene go. Tell me about, because I know you had the 9 to 5, and it wasn't always easy for you to have that entrepreneurial mindset. What were some of the struggles that you and was it like a struggle with you and Jerry? Like, was Jerry always like, yo, you need to really be an entrepreneur instead of the 9 to 5, or was he always like, whatever makes you happy, do?
He was kind of like whatever makes you happy. I think it comes back to like your influences. And his mom, both his parents are entrepreneurs, but his dad always told his mom, whatever you want to do, it's fine. Like, we'll be fine either way. I think it was kind of tough though for me because I wanted to do the entrepreneurial thing, but I didn't want to be put in a box. And I knew what he kept telling me I was good at. He kept saying, I'm doing this real estate thing, but you would kill this. Like, you're good at this. You help people all the time with stuff like, letting them know that they can have a house. Like, you can't just say because I'm young, I can't have something. You're the person who preaches that all day. So why not get your license and help people do that? And I'm like, no, I don't want to sell anything. I'm not a salesperson. He's like, you go to work every day and sell millions of dollars worth of stuff. Why can't you do that for yourself? But at first it was kind of tough because it was hard for me to see it from his perspective, which was you're putting in more time and getting less money for what you could be doing, spending less time and getting all of your money instead of paying it to your company when you're doing the same thing. So that was a struggle for me, just kind of trying to see what he was saying. And that's a good struggle to have, that I have to see through my husband's eyes how great I am. It's not that he was telling me I can't do something or I shouldn't do something. So I'm grateful for that, because I have friends who are single and they keep running the guys and they tell the guys about what they want to do in the future and they run. We literally tried to set up 2 friends, and the one friend, the girl, she's phenomenal. She works for a company, Fortune 500 company. She makes a ton of money. She also has entrepreneurial efforts that are very successful. The guy, he works, here and there, but he's not as ambitious. And he literally just stopped texting her because she was so ambitious. Who does that? So I this topic is crazy because I really am trying to figure this out from the male perspective. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, from a male's perspective, it's always been taught to us that you got to take care of your wife, right? You got to be the provider. You got to be a protector. And again, I always like to implement this. If she makes more than you, that does not stop you from being a provider. I think when we had the conversation, if my wife makes $1 million and I make 200,000, guess what? We make 1.2. Right? That's how people want to look at it.
Your mouth to God's ears.
Huh?
I said from your mouth to God's ears.
Amen. But what happens is with guys, what typical men will do is they say, if they make $1 million and the wife makes 200,000, well, I make $1 million, she only makes 200,000. Why would you minimize what she's doing? We're quick to do that. Like, it's like an insecurity, like we've got to be on top. Now, I've always told my wife this, and this is some of the things that I had to check. I'm very competitive. And for a while, it would be hard for me to deal with if my wife made more money than me. It was a problem. Then I had to sit there and say, wait a minute, it all goes into the same bank. It comes into the same house. But what happens is, as long as I know I'm out here giving it my all and working in my purpose that God has for me, if her purpose brings her more income than it brings me, I'm fine with that. Long as she's walking, because I realize this, is she's walking in her purpose and she's truly happy, that benefits me. Men say this all the time, happy wife, happy life. But then they won't let them pursue their dreams. I always told my wife, I ain't trying to buy you a bag. I'm trying to show you how to get money so you can buy your own bag. And buy me something when you're out there.
Come on, somebody.
Huh?
Say, come on, somebody.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you buying me gifts with my money. So I've always, when Darlene made the decision, and I didn't push it, because again, there was a point in time where I had to say, okay, is this something you sure you want to do? It wasn't that I was against her vision or dream. Is this sure this is what you want to do? And she told me, yeah. And I said, all right, well, what we got to do to get it done? Darlene was an entrepreneur. People don't realize this. Darlene was an entrepreneur before me. I worked. I took the sacrifice and said, okay, if you're going to do this, let's make sure we got da 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 da. So that is just a man thing. Like, that's when we said where they do that. It's just a man thing. Like, we have this insecurity, and that's why I wanted to get this message out. It is okay, but you have to have that communication. You have to understand that no matter what she does, no matter how much money she makes, she's still your wife. She's still your wife. She's still.
And I think a lot of it, though, goes to, like you said, the insecurity. But one thing that we have to get each other to see is that, you know, you doing well, just like you said, if you make $1 million and she makes $2 million, we make 1.2 together. One person doing well does not minimize my efforts. It's always a paradigm shift. Like, there will be couples, if you married for 50 years, there'll be some years where you don't make the most. There'll be some years where neither of you make anything. So sometimes people have to check their confidence levels within themselves because they're looking for it in whatever their spouse does. And it's just like, you know, you gotta some balance with that.
That's true, and I think a lot of times that is the other issue. I think that when you have a confident woman, and you may have a man that may be confident, but his confidence may have been shaken, or may have had a bad experience, I think that plays in the role of not wanting to be a supportive role in now his new significant other or within the marriage on certain things. I think that it can go either way. It can go that way for a woman because there are women out here that have, and they know what they're called and they're destined to do here on earth. And I think that they walk in it every day, but they go home and they can't live in it because they don't have that supportive, confident spouse that's going to give them that pat on the shoulder or that good job, babe, go out and kill it again tomorrow type attitude.
And I'm gonna tell you, Darlene, what you just said was so powerful. They can't live in it. Like I just couldn't imagine if I lived a life where I couldn't live my dreams. So, with that being said, ladies, we have been honored. Miss Courtney is in the house, the relationship specialist. She decided to come on because of the topic. She was able to grace us with her presence. Thank you very much.
I feel the honor to be invited
Oh,
2 times in a week. Woo!
Miss Courtney on the line. We got Darlene, my wife Darlene, and Miss Jessica Felder.
Hey, Jessica.
And basically what we were talking about, I think we talked a little bit about it. We're just talking about the support of the support of your significant other. And I think I was telling you a little bit, you know, I've just been meeting a lot of women that don't feel that they can walk in their vision or live their life, their purpose because they don't have somebody at home pushing them and supporting them. And I honor you and your husband because, as you said, your husband supports you in everything you do. So
Yeah, he at the 200% now.
we building them up. We getting there, huh? So that's where we were at. So just give us your, you know, how has your husband's support helped you in business? How's it helped you get over? Do you think you would be where you are right now without your husband's support?
I would say no, because first of all, I would not have taken the faith walk to even make the decision to be a full-time, you know, entrepreneur, because I would have not had the support. And a lot of times I think we are, as women, have this fear, how you say, to fully live yourself because you've designated yourself as a role, not just as a wife, but as, you know, a helpmate. And sometimes we get that helpmate confused because we've taken that provision component and taking on the burden of some of that too as well. So it has allowed me to, definitely explore, you know, different avenues to find out what it is. And he's always saying, hey, you are smart. You can do anything that you want to do. He said, just figure out what it is. And if you say this is what we're going to do, he said, I know it's going to prosper. And that's what, you know, every morning he said, whatever we're going to do, I know if you say we're going to do it, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Amen.
So he believes in writing the vision, making it plain. I mean, because he's a hard worker. He's an entrepreneur. I mean, he's actually given up a whole lot of stuff for me to run this dream cycle here. So, and I think that's where we mess up in our marriage. Nobody wants to sacrifice. So everybody's chasing the dream. And if you all don't know the big whole T.I. and Tiny thing that's going on now, it's kind of like a mirror of that, you know. it's great she could be tiny as long as she was supporting the T.I. dream and T.I. vision, but now she wants to, go back to her. Well, I wouldn't even say she was her own thing, because, I mean, she was part of a great group, but, a lot of times those groups don't stick together, but it's an opportunity for it to do something different. And I think a lot of times men have began to see us in one role. As wife, as mother, we need to be in a certain position, in a certain place, Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to make sure you eat, but it don't mean you have to be off the stove every night, Just
and it's funny you brought that up, because me and Jessica were just talking about that yesterday. As men, I think we cripple our wives when we say, "I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna provide for you financially. You ain't never got to work a day in your life." I've never told my wife that. I will provide for you and take care of you, and make sure that you have the things that you desire, but you're going to have to get out here and work. And I never forget, there was a point in time, and I know Darlene's going to kill me. There was a point in time where I was foolish. Well, it wasn't that I was fooling, and I said that. I said, you know what, take some time, get yourself together. And all she had to do all day was nothing. Like, Darlene was home all day, every day. We did that for about, 2 months, Darlene?
She said she don't answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about 2 months. And I literally came home and was like, you have got to go to work. She was like, are we hurting financially? No, you need something to do. I can't be everything you do. It can't just be, and she looked at me and kind of rolled her eyes, but it was because she was miserable because she wasn't living on purpose.
Yeah.
And I had to realize that she's not meant to stay home all day. She's not meant to just stay home and I never say a stay at home mom. I think that's an insult, because if you're a mom and you do not work and you stay at home, you are a household engineer. Because
and you're doing more than just staying at home.
Exactly. Like literally, if you left me in the house all day with a kid, not 2, not 3, not 4, 1 kid, and I had to clean it and all of that, I guarantee you I'm going to have help. I'm going to have about 3, 4 people over there. We're going to be one of them going to be chasing the kid. Another one going to be helping me keep the house clean. Like, I don't see how one would. So I think as men, we minimize, well, she just stays at home. Do you know what has to be done staying at home? But
right.
Imagine that resource, because I say that if you can run a house, you can run a Fortune 500 company.
It's amazing you said that. I actually saw that. I was Googling some positions. Every once in a while you get on that road and you be like, maybe I need to go back to it. But, I mean, I actually wasn't Googling for myself. It was, I was looking up for my youngest daughter, and it said, well, if you have worked at home and you've had kids, you can run a restaurant. I said, because they were saying you already know how to keep a pantry, you already know how to, make sure there's enough food to feed everybody. And I was like, oh, well, I enjoy cooking. I probably could do that. And I was like, nah.
I say it because, and again, I look at, and I tell people this all the time, Darlene is my hero. Okay. Because, like, she'll be in pain. She'll be in pain. She'll be going through everything she's going through. And then I'll be like, hey, I got an event. All right, let's do it. Like last week, it was last Saturday, a week from this Saturday that's coming up. She was in the hospital all week. And the next day she was at an event. It was an event for her, but she was at an event. So I'm like, and then the whole time she was in the hospital, I had a cold, and I'm like, I got a cold. I can't breathe. And she's like, okay, stay in the bed. I'm like,
Big
this is
baby.
like, she's in a, you know what I mean? She's in a hospital bed talking about, she's in a hospital bed, was like, well, if you need to get some rest today, don't worry about it. I'm getting up. You know what I'm saying? So I say all of that to say that there's so much purpose inside of the women that we're with. This is the part that really got me, was because that's how domestic violence gets a foothold, because men want that control. And I always said that if you have that control where you can control the staying in the house and all of that, and that woman wakes up one day and says, you know what, I'm not doing this no more. I'm going to live in my purpose. What is that man willing to do to keep or get that control back?
Yeah.
And we're seeing it on the news. Like, I was so appalled that they put that Facebook Live video up of that man killing that man. And people share that. But think about that. He said, whatever the woman, his girlfriend's name, which I said I wouldn't repeat her name, she's the reason I'm doing this to you. And now people are shaming her, like, saying you should have been the one that he killed. You should be dead, da-da-da-da-da, because of some man's action, because he had an insecurity and he couldn't let go and he couldn't control it, so that was his way of controlling her.
I never even saw the video. I mean, I know the story, the background behind it. But a lot of times we set those walls up and parameters too as women. We should not set ourselves up that's who we're going to be all the time. You know,
Right.
we should not
That's
sit up.
That's a great point.
Yeah, we should not say that I'm going to be your all, because a lot of times we walk in that reverse. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to always have a meal on the table. I'm going to always do this, and I'm going to always do this. I had somebody tell me, don't ever set up a relationship doing something that you can't always continue to do. Because when you break it and it's a mess, then you wonder what happened. So we have to not set ourselves up as women and have the real conversation in the beginning. Yes, I want to be a mother, but does that not mean I'm going to quit my 9 to 5? Yes, I want to, pursue a career, but I'm going to have other passions outside of that. It needs to be that conversation, and then it needs to be that conversation. And now, how do you plan on participating in this? Because I know a lot of people where the women do almost like 80% of the parenting, then they do 80%. It's like, okay, we got an unequally balanced relationship going on here. It's too much being loaded on one person because this person say, well, I got a good job. As a man, and I'm a breadwinner. But we put ourselves in a position as women when we don't have that communication and conversation up front and say, okay, this will work for the first 5 years. Then this is what's going to happen. These are going to be transitions. Hey, I'm 20 now. This is fine. In my 30s, these are some things that I'm going to want to explore. When I get 40, I'm going to make some, have a conversation. And I know you're not having all this at the time you meet somebody, but a lot of times we don't have that conversation that change has occurred, or we need some personal development in our life. And for me, like, I'll tell my husband, okay, I need to either go back to school or I need to be doing something creative, let's find something where I can take this one, I need to take this apple that we got here. We're going to make some apple pies. We're going to make some preserves. We're going to make it multiply. And as you say, we are women, so we're always trying to birth something. We're always trying to birth something. But if we have a man who's not supporting it, that means he's always trying to abort it in our lives, and we can't give birth to nothing.
Wow.
I think you just said something very, very profound, like about us being multipliers. Like, we're a garden, so what you put in us, we're going to give it back to you tenfold. So either you can be a weed and strangle out all of this beauty, or you can be water and continue to help this grow, because it's not going to do anything but feed you if I grow apples. So I think back to the conversation piece, it's like you do have to ask those questions in the beginning and see what this person is about. Like, in both scenarios, whether you're the male or the female, where are you going to be in 10 years? Where do you want to be in 5 years? We literally laid all that out. It's like, right now I work, but I do want to have kids. And when I do, I want to make sure they eat real food. So I'm not going to go to work for 10 hours a day, 9 hours a day, and have them at daycare and come home and eat pizza every day. That's not, the life that I want. So we're going to have to make a way to support that. And that's what we did.
And I think it was a part of the conversation that we had when you and Jerry were here last time. And the conversation we had was when it comes to finances, one of the things that we said, we share ourselves intimately with our mate before we ever share ourselves financially. But one of the things that I pride what me and Darlene did, we always set expectations and time frames. So like when she was going to school, she said she can get school done in 3 years. I said, all right, you got 4 years. And then after that, then I'm going to pursue da-da-da-da-da. And then when I did my career, I said, look, I need you to give me 3 years to get this up and off the ground. And if you support me and hold me down for those 3 years, then we'll do this. If not, then we'll go. Like, we always set expectations and time frames because, again, like you said, the parameters was, I don't want to be this person staying at home. I don't want to be, this person. This is something that I want to do now. And it goes back to what you were saying before. We knew one of us had to make a sacrifice for the other one to get ahead for both of our betterment. Right?
Yeah, and I think we see so many times, and I don't want to say black women, but I'm going to say it, I'm a black woman, and it's all in the news all the time about how a woman has sacrificed for her spouse, for him to go to school, to get all these degrees, then all of a sudden when he gets to be whatever it is.
And leave you for a white woman.
Well, see, I wasn't going to even go there.
I'm quoting Kanye. That's what Kanye said.
But my whole theory is, if I support you when you have nothing, stay to support me so we can get to the same level. Mm-hmm. Don't leave me because now you feel like you're better than me or because you can do better. Because the thing is, the whole reason was for us to be together as a team. And I think the whole team concept gets lost because one member of the team is rising, but they forget it's supposed to be a whole unit. And so while you go on, we're supposed to be rising together, but I think there becomes a disconnect. And sometimes it is our fault as women. We lose ourselves. We don't take care of ourselves anymore. We just pour ourselves into this whole individual and they become our lives. But that's not an excuse for a person to, throw us out like a mat and walk over us either. So it's got to be some balance in that. And I mean, it all starts with communication. But the thing is, the whole support has to mean I'm willing to sacrifice at some point. At some point, I'm willing to give up something in order for you to get something.
And it's definitely key. One of the things that I pray about this all the time. It's not even talking about leaving my wife, but I pray that when success really comes the way we know it's coming, that I remain humble. And the reason we say that is because that's what everybody, I done made it, I have arrived. And one of the things that I tell people all the time, the person that, like, when I get up, I have speaking engagements, and people always say, you did a great job. And I say, you see that woman right there in the back? If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be as great as I am. And people say, well, yeah, you wouldn't. People have no idea how much Darlene really supports me. As far as making sure I run stuff by her. So I always said that. I always rewarded loyalty. The reason that me and Darlene are together, just a real brief synopsis, she was there for me when she didn't have to be. And when I was at my lowest point, she still made me feel like a man. And I told her, I said, for the rest of my life, I'll always be by your side. Because my parents instilled it in me. You reward loyalty. It ain't always going to be perfect. People say here, they say, well, you got to, if you love somebody, you always like them. If you married, there's times you do not like your spouse.
Yeah, you just love them.
Yeah, I love her, but right now I don't like her.
Yeah, because it's something that you did. And it's not I don't like them. It's like I don't like necessarily the conversation we have, and I don't like your attitude. Yeah. I don't like something that you did. But I mean, I can love you in spite of not liking you. At this, because I'm only gonna not like you for a moment, but I'm gonna love you for a lifetime. And I like you said about that loyalty thing. It is who with you, even when you have half a penny.
and they always say you can always tell a woman's loyalty because a woman is loyal when a man has nothing, and a man is loyal to a woman when he has everything. And that's what I pray to God, that I stay loyal. I will be loyal, and because I know I got here with her because of her. So that's what we got to get to. But it's just the simple fact that when I listen to these women, and you just hear them, like you can just hear the pain in their voice, and they're just smiling through it all. And that's why I say women are so beautiful, because they're smiling through it all. Yeah, it's just we got to get our finances, and that's basically that man saying, no, you can't. You got to keep working at that job, and because if you, then who gonna cook for this food? Who gonna take care of these babies? Well, if she made enough money, you could pay somebody to come in here and cook this food, and you see what I'm saying? It's just. I just think that sometimes as men, and I'm saying this as a man, I might get beat up for it, we can be so short-sighted sometimes.
Well, I can tell you
I think one thing that you said. I'm sorry.
Well, I can tell you the thing that my husband said that made the difference for me. He said your happiness and your health is more than anything that you choose to do in your life. So when I was like, okay, let me make sure I'm being happy every day, and what I'm doing is creating a healthy environment for me. Because he said, if you neither one of them, I'm not going to be. So my happiness and health helps him be happy and healthy. So it is a big cycle that allows us to find that peace at home. Yeah, but it was funny about that humility piece, because people always say, oh, when you get rich, you're going to change. When you get this, you're going to be somebody different. I always say money only amplifies who you already are. So if you are a horrible person, and I mean, I already know you all are wonderful people, so money is only going to magnify that within you all and just make you all a better couple. It's not going to create. So when those people got money, when they got success, they were not in love to begin with. They weren't in a real relationship anyway. They were using a person to get to a certain place. So I really believe, success is different from all of us. Because that whole arrival and made thing, the day God took over my life, I made it. So I was like, hey, I made it that day. I was already successful, but now acquiring the things of the world, that's a total different level of success that we achieve. But I do believe that when you have to really sit down and say, how does money play a role in your life if you're chasing the dollar every day?
Yeah. And I'm sorry, what were you saying, Jess? Did you have a point?
I was going to say, you said something about paying somebody to take care of the kids and helping with stuff. I think that's like the basis of it, we have to let go of some ideals that we made up before we got married or before we got in a relationship. And we have to really think about the idea that we're building this life together. So just because, Rich Joe over here, his wife stays home and takes care of the kids, and then she throws on her gown and comes to the gala, that doesn't mean your wife has to do that. So for me, it's like we have to really carve out our life. And having small kids, like we have to make a conscious effort to get rid of the ideals of whatever picture we had before we actually started this journey and evolve as time comes. Because who I am today is not who I was when we got married. And I'm going to continue to change and evolve.
Yeah.
It's the same with him. It's like he has to evolve, and I have to keep falling in love with the same person over and over, but I have to keep supporting that person even though his dreams are going to change. His ideas are going to change daily. That's what happens with entrepreneurs. When you're married to a real entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, this man comes to me every day with a different $1 million idea. And I have
isn't that true,
try to
Darlene?
be supportive.
And the reason I say that is because that's what Darlene is. She's a serial entrepreneur. She just started a jewelry business, and for as long as people have known me, I've been finance. That's been my business. And a lot of people could say, well, I'm not envious, I'm not jealous, that's just my wife. She can get 3 or 4 things going and still support me. But Jess, one of the things that you said that I really wanted to highlight on before we start wrapping up, another thing is, like as you say, we got to get rid of that picture. We also got to stop looking into our neighbor's window. What works for the Joneses ain't gonna work for the Baileys.
I know that's right.
That ain't who we are. I'm not trying to be like them. I'm not trying to have a marriage like them because we get to see what they show us. They might be miserable behind closed doors, and we're trying to replicate misery. Yeah. And what happens is you'll have, especially as men, we try to be alphas, but here sometimes we'll see what somebody else doing. Well, it's working for them. Not knowing that he down the street with the other lady. You see what I'm saying? Like, we try to replicate what we see instead of genuinely being happy and saying, I don't care what nobody really thinks about it. It works for us. If this is what's making my wife happy, then I'm going to do it. Some people say, well, you mean to tell me you go home and you cook for your wife? No, I bring food, but I'm not a cooker. But I will bring food home.
But you would if you were that guy.
Oh, yeah. I would if I was like, you know what it is? I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to share a little secret with you. I don't like my hands being dirty. Oh, I can't stand my hands being dirty. And my wife will tell you. She'd be like, man, you're going to wash the skin off your hands. But anyway, what works for us may not work for everybody else. But at the end of the day, long as me and Darlene have true happiness, it don't matter what people think about it. And so many times I think in marriages we limit ourselves because we're trying to fit this stereotype. We're trying to fit into what are people going to think if you're not at home taking care of the kids. I can care less what they think. Who's paying this mortgage? Me and you. Who's paying these car notes? Who's putting these kids through school? Me and you. And when you look at raising a child, you need I don't care how much money you make, it is much better when you have a dual income. Because it's expensive. It really is an expense, and that's what people fail to realize. When we got back to this, the origin of it is your wife or your significant other is there to be a helpmate. So what are you really helping me do? I get it, you have children and things like that, but I tell my wife, I need you to help me create this empire. Because I tell people this all the time. If you are married, your spouse is going to leave you. Voluntarily or involuntarily. They are going to leave. And as a man, I always say this. How would you want your family to look 5 years after you leave? And they look at me and they say, well, I get this life insurance and I'll take care of them. No. But what if your wife doesn't know anything about what's going on? How do you think she's going to handle that money? She ain't going to know what to do.
That's it's funny that you said that because I don't know, but I lost my spouse and my husband lost his wife. So those are one of the things we talk about, and people really don't think about that, because they think it's forever. I mean, your love is forever till actually death do us part. People don't really hear it.
That is a clause in the marriage.
Yeah,
till death do us part.
People don't hear that part, and it's sometimes you're not planning for it because it happens way before you think it's going to happen, and sometimes insurance is not enough depending on how long the person was sick. All the money goes to the hospital bills, all of that stuff. So you got to think more than what did you leave financially. Did you leave that person with the capability to know how to sustain themselves? Because like you say, they leave and you leave them with a bunch of money, but they never had to pay a bill. They never they don't even know where it is. And I mean, that's a very old school mentality, kind of like my grandmother and mother were, so when my grandfather passed, it really shook my grandmother you know, because he did everything. And we don't live in that world. We shouldn't be living in that world that we are not sharing how things go on. So, I mean, because it could be a car accident. It could be you just, you know, your heart stopped. Anything could be at this moment. You never want to leave anybody in a situation of just not knowing. So, I mean, it should always be that communication. Like you say, that helpmate, so you know what's going on in your own household.
So, I definitely, I thank everybody, Jessica, to my lovely bride, Darlene, thank you, baby, and to Miss Courtney coming back in. Thank you guys, because this is a subject that we're going to talk about again, and I'm going to set it up better where we have a lot more time to talk about it, because in business, and we're going to tie it back into getting down to business, in business and in finance, you need your spouse's full and 100% support and participation. There's a difference between support and participation.
Yes.
And you need all of that to be successful in finance and business and life. Like Jessica said, imagine that you had a hard day at work and your husband or your significant other don't want to hear about it. You mean to tell me I can't tell you about my day, but you want me to tell you about my dreams? But then you want me to get up here, take a shower, and then get into bed and get intimate with you. If I can't share myself emotionally, why would I share myself physically?
Yeah.
And I try to encourage men to say that. Like, if you really believe happy wife, happy life, that don't just mean buying her something, or that means she is truly fulfilled in her purpose. So with that being said, and wrapping up, again, I want to thank Jessica. I want to thank Miss Courtney, Darlene. Thank you guys for taking the time out and participating in the show. I believe it was helpful and impactful. And to everybody listening, here's the thing. If you have somebody and you feel like you're not getting the support you need to do, communication, you have to sit down. But here's the thing. I want to say communication is not just talking, but it is listening to understand.
Yes.
I try my best, and it's hard. I know as fellas, we got a lot of things going on, but I try to pause, break everything going on in my life. Yes, I said pause, break everything going on in my life so I can listen and understand what my wife is trying to say. And my wife always says, you treat me like a client, because I'll do that to my clients. I'll say, well, why did you say that? Where'd that come from? What do you mean by that? And it's not that I'm trying to be funny. I genuinely want to understand why you said what you just said to me. And it's as simple as why do you feel like that? Why did you say that? We have to listen to understand. And that is the true essence of communication. Now, I know we're talking about and we're beating up on the fellas tonight, but women, the same thing. You've got to understand. Sometimes you got to listen to your man and understand where he's coming from. So I thank you guys for listening to the relationship version of Getting Down to Business. I thank you, everybody, for listening. I pray and hope that you receive something from it. Tune in next week where we will have Mr. Deron Tucker on. Mr. Deron Tucker is an estate attorney, and he's going to be blessing us and talking to us about wills, estates, and trust, and the importance of them, because a lot of people think that they're a lot of money, they don't need them. And he's going to really break it down. I know we're talking about death, but he's really going to break it down, the importance of having wills, trusts, and estates like that. So I pray everybody tunes in. And Ms. Courtney, tell everybody where they can find you and how they can listen to your show before we go.
I am the relationship service station, the Master Relationship Mechanic Show.
Yes.
Yes. Every Tuesday, come right back here at 8 o'clock. I am here, but you can catch me at Instagram at Master Relationship Mechanic. I am always talking about something.
And to my sister from another mister, Miss Jessica, thank you. Tell Jerry I said hey, and you give them lovely girls a kiss. And to my wife, I'll be home shortly. And I love you guys, and thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for listening to One Away Praise Radio, Voice in the Gospel. You listen to Getting Down to Business with your financial lifestyle planner, Sean Bailey. I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.